The date is January 21st, 2025, an extremely important day in JToH history. The previous owner for over 5 years, Jukecalla, has just dramatically stepped down, and JToH is put into a strange position. Unsurprisingly, this event has made many players reminisce on the golden age of JToH. But why does it seem better? And what really has made modern JToH an overall worse era of the game? When you start to really compare the two, you can begin to see the flaws of both eras and find out. So let's see why with each year, more and more players have come to the conclusion that old JToH is superior. Firstly, what is defined as classic JToH, and what is defined as modern JToH? Well, usually it depends on the person, but I'll define old JToH as 2019 after Obertoon stepped down to 2022, and modern JToH as the start of 2023 to now. This video will chronologically go through each year of classic JToH, and then each year of modern JToH to find out what happened to the game. To objectively rank these years, I'll use a 25-point system with 10 points for content that year, 10 more for the quality of that content, and 5 points for how much controversy there was that year. For the idea, most of the inspiration is from Logan ISL's Before the Rings video, but also this video by Jacob Gamer, so I'll leave their channels in the description. As always, if you want to go to a specific part of the video, use the chapters and navigate to where you'd like to go. The small community that JToH had was shaken. An owner had stepped down, and a new one had replaced them. Like today, JToH was in a controversial spot, but despite this flaw, the game continued to expand, eventually leading to Thanos Tower releasing in Ring 1 after being in development for a prolonged time. This version of Thanos Tower isn't the one you know today, as that revamp would occur later in JToH's lifetime. Shortly after, the 2019 April Fool's event would occur for a short period of 4 hours, though if you joined at that time, you would have received a badge and a rare item called the Stone Coil on a later date. Additionally, Tower of Killjoys and Ring 6 were both major releases that happened in April. Within the next month, the one and only spring event of 2019 came out as the first official event in JToH with 3 short steeples to complete. June was also a big month, with Toast releasing on the 3rd and Zone 1 releasing just 21 days after. Moving on to September, Zone 2 was already released, and a month later the Halloween event was playable, with once again 3 steeples of increasing difficulty. This event also had a boss fight that gave you a Witch's Brew item along with an Abyssal Energy ore that looked pretty cool. November was another interesting month, with JToH's Thanksgiving event, containing just 1 tower that gave you a spicy turkey leg, which takes 30 health points in turn for a short speed boost. At the end of the month, the both loved and hated Citadel Void was permanently removed from JToH. When December rolled around, the last of 5 events that year, the Christmas event released with 4 steeples and a boss this time, with various obtainable items. Overall, 2019 was specifically a great year for content, with 5 events and 5 areas releasing if we include Ring 4 and 5 before Obertoon stepped down. That is in fact the most area and events releases in this lineup, giving this year a 10 out of 10 for content. Quality, on the other hand, isn't as great, as the areas released this year weren't exactly the best, but the events made up for it in my opinion. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Finally, besides Obertoon stepping down from being owner, I couldn't find any real controversy this year, so I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's now 2020, And JToH keeps expanding relatively quick, with Ring 7 quickly releasing for everyone to play on the 25th of January. March had the releases of Citadel Pearl and Zone 3, with another small incident with dislike botting. April had a notorious event, this one being the 2020 April Fool's event with a brand new epic difficulty and 3 new towers, although one of them was impossible. Continuing with the dislike botting trend, another wave of dislikes came over the game again, causing the entire game to shut down for an hour to fix it. Along with the Tools tab, Tower Rushes also began getting released in April. May had the release of Arcane Area with 10 steeples and a tower, whilst June had the elevator secret in Ring 1 that lets you easily access previous events. On July 8th, Ring 8 was released to JToH, and the first catastrophic tower would be beaten by Con 2005 2 days after. Unfortunately, in September, he would controversially get banned from JToH for using an exploiter to know the checkpoints for TOGF and TOER, and also ban evading. In October, there was an incident coming from the aforementioned banning where people would create alts and beat tower thinning layers for global win messages with inappropriate names that included Khan and another obvious AEK. Halloween event 2020 would come out later though, with 4 steeples and a citadel to beat, along with the usual boss and various items. December would bring the 2020 Christmas event that would be released in 2 halves, and it had 3 steeples, a tower, and a boss fight with 7 obtainable items. 2020 was a revolutionary year that brought content, quality, and also a bit of controversy. On the content part, this year brought 3 events, 3 areas, and 1 sub-realm into JToH, which is still pretty good, so I'll give this an 8 out of 10 on content. The quality of the areas are not the best, but still much better than 2019, which means this gets a solid 7 for quality. The controversies this year were small but many, which isn't too bad, but still a bit more controversial. 3 out of 5. The year has turned to 2021, still well into our definition of classic JToH, and things aren't slowing down. Time and effort was really starting to be put into areas, and it was evident. This year starts off strong with the release of Zone 4 with amazing quality compared to previous areas. An unfortunate incident also happened in January with a command called Hand 2 that allowed hundreds of JToH players to get vertical mobility for free. In February, probably the most famous subrealm released, Forgotten Ridge, with a wide array of content. March was an interesting month for controversy, with a controversial update capping the FPS at 75, causing many prominent hobbyists to quit. One of my favorite April Fool's events released in the coming days, Fool's Ring 9, with 6 mostly difficult towers and a mini steeple. On the 22nd, a huge release finally happened, that of Ring 9. After some bug fixing, it was finally out, and they added monthly challenges in May. Unfortunately, May was a bad month for exploiting, with one of JToH's largest hacking incidents happening, the Tower Races incident, where vile messages were spread across JToH globally with exploits. Soon after, more exploiters turned Forgotten Ridge into Bikini Bottom, but it was soon resolved. If we move on to July, Paradise Atoll would released in JToH as an overall mediocre area. August would bring the end of the popular star rating system, while September brought the JToH community an extremely advanced release, Zone 5. Just compare this gameplay in Zone 5 to some gameplay in Zone 3. Modernization was definitely beginning, but it wasn't in full swing yet, and on Halloween of that year, the Halloween event released, but it was disappointing. Instead of many steeples, towers, and a boss fight, all there was just modifiers to towers, although there was some items that you could get. The Christmas event released afterwards too, but it also had a lack of content. One citadel seems like a lot, but compared to other major events like this, it really wasn't too much. Thankfully, the 11 obtainable items can make up for it. Clearly, 2021 was a major year for quality, but first let's look at the content. This year had 3 events, though 2 are lacking some steeples and towers. The year also had 3 area releases and 2 subrealms though, so I'll give this year a 7 for content. Quality, on the other hand, makes up for all of that. Again, this is major improvement, but it's not even close to the future quality of towers. 8.5 out of 10. Controversy is another great area too. Besides the hacking incidents, there's practically no controversy in 2021. Almost perfect. 4.5 out of 5. 2022 is when we begin to approach the modern era of JToH, and some new and advanced areas start releasing in this time period. For example, a discontinued area for Ring 3, Mount Rad, began its contest for potential steeples or towers in the area, whilst the contest for Garden of Ishus ended, with 13 obbies being confirmed for the area shortly after. February would spell the end for 2021's Christmas event, but it was also the month that one of the greatest overall areas, Garden of Ishus, released. March was a mixed month though, as an unfortunate update to Roblox caused the deletion of every song in JToH, but it was fixed relatively quickly. The good part of this month was the release of yet another subrealm, the Pit of Misery, containing 12 towers, a steeple, and a mini tower, though the Citadel wasn't in the area yet. At this point in time, most towers here were considered impossible for any human to complete, though most horrifics were seen as possible. Of course, April brings us the 2022 April Fool's event, the Terrain World, this time giving players the opportunity to complete 6 terrible towers ranging from hard to insane difficulty. After being teased for months, Zone 6 would finally release in May, with the reveal of Zone 7's tower slots. Besides some minor exploit instances, there was a short period of inactivity in JToH content, which was until of course August, when again, one of my personal favorite areas, Zone 7 released. Time Lost Plane was also released this month, solely for visiting old monthly towers. This time, this yearly Halloween event, Eclipsed Headquarters, was released in September of 2022, not October, and the area contained 4 steeples with the boss that got released over its 2 phases. When it was first released, there were some errors with the elevator buttons, causing the shutdown of the area, but it promptly got patched and brought back. October was when Citadel of Infinite Void was added to the Pit of Misery, completing the area. Along with the Halloween event, there was a special Black Friday event with items like the Diamond Gift of High Expectations, giving you a Diamond Coral, and the Heavenly Gift of Immortal Will, that gave you the extremely valuable Heavenly Coral. As usual, December brought the Christmas event, now rebranded as the Winter event. This event was unfortunately discontinued, and it didn't have any steeples, making it an overall letdown to the community. Right as the year was about to end, another subrealm released in the JToH, the Lost River. This area was full of various high-quality towers and a citadel. This area is considered decent by the community. If I were to give a phrase for 2022, it'd probably be the year of the subrealms, and that brings us to content. This year, only 2 areas released, but there was 3 major subrealms in the game, and 4 events. Compared to other years, that's still a solid 7 out of 10 for content, but it's still decent. Again, quality is the strong suit of more recent years, as some of my favorite areas released this year, giving this a 9 out of 10 for quality. Where this year shines most, though, are controversy. Excluding some small incidents of glitches, there was no big controversies that I could find at all, giving this year a 5 out of 5 for controversy. As the transition into modern JToH has ended, content definitely begins to slow down, and 2023 isn't exactly my favorite year for this game. No releases near the start of the year, but development is in session for areas like Silent Abyss, Zone 8, and Ashen Tower Works. April Fool's 2023, something otherworldly, comes out with 5 towers, a steeple, and even a citadel to suffer through. Some important releases start to happen in April though, as Zone 8 Progress finally finishes and is released with 15 towers and a citadel, ranging from hard to catastrophic. After over 4 years of development, Tower of Oblivion is released in the Ring 4 as Jukecalla's magnum opus. Unfortunately, 2 major controversies in the JToH community would happen within the 2 months after this. Firstly, a major JToH developer, Punky Nil, was completely exposed for their heinous acts of grooming a minor and was promptly kicked out of the JToH community completely. Shortly after, Lightsynth, a former developer, released a devastating 408-page document leaking Silent Abyss and exposing the JToH devs and community. This was not a great time for JToH, as the community revolving around it was in a full panic, but after responses to drama and calming down the community, everyone began to calm down. The developers were now attempting to bring back some old features that players enjoyed, like removing the FPS cap and adding quality of life features. A new event for JToH also came out, the 2023 Legacy event that celebrated 7 years of JToH and brought 13 classic styled towers, including the original ones with 4 decent prizes. The 2023 Legacy event was considered an interesting event that was great to play overall. July brought Time Lost Clockwork, and in the month after, Silent Abyss released with an assortment of towers and steeples with, of course, great quality. Before we get to this year's Halloween event, we have to talk about a serious hacking incident though. Through seemingly mysterious means, hackers were able to crash countless people's games in JToH, which brought a lot of anger from the community, especially when a player got crashed far in the tower. After patching that though, the devs released 2023's Halloween event. This event was called the Harvest Carnival, and had 3 steeples, a citadel, and a boss fight with 7 obtainable items. In November, we have the bonus Black Friday event, having 2 presents for purchase. The present of very fragile materials that gave you an item that would increase max health by 5 and summon 12 weak shields around you on use. The other and much more expensive present was the present of recalled Controversy, with the name stemming from the present from last year, the Heavenly Gift of Immortal Will, causing players to make the developers give a better item for its price of 1,500 Robux. The present contained the Heavenly Orb, the item that used to be in the gift from last year, and it gave you infinite health with a halo over your head. Instead of getting a Christmas event in December, it was delayed until 2024, causing some anger from the community. This event ended the 2023 season for JToH, and it was overall disappointing. Firstly, there really wasn't too much content for this year, as only one area in Subrealm was ever released, though the 5 events could maybe make up for it. 5 out of 10. Thankfully, quality can begin to save this year. These are objectively better towers, but not as consistently good as 2022, so I'll give this a 9 out of 10 in the quality department. The final and worst category in this is the controversy category. As discussed, the 2 major controversies made this year one of, if not the worst year for controversy. 2 out of 5. "2024 was the most recent year in JToH, but is it good? Well, the Christmas event for last year released in February with just 3 steeples and no boss. March was a much better month though, as a major subrealm drops for Ring 6, Ashen Tower Works. This subrealm was practically a whole area, with 15 towers to play with extremely high quality. In the same month, towers began to be confirmed for the upcoming area, Zone 9. Continuing the tradition, the April Fool's event for 2024 was released for the public to experience, although it was in an unfinished state. This event fully released though was a great event with 7 towers, a steeple, a mini tower, and a mini citadel, which were all interesting to play through. Changes to the game really ceased until August of 2024, with the Legacy event for JToH's 8th anniversary. This Legacy event had 29 towers, an absolutely crazy amount of content, which can begin to make up for the lack of areas. This event also had 14 prizes, the most out of any event yet. Along with this, an event for JToH reaching 100 million visits was released with 4 mini towers to play, ranging from easy to peak extreme. If we skip to October, we would see one of the most anticipated areas coming out, Zone 9. Currently, this area objectively has the greatest quality of any area ever made in JToH before it. To players' dismay, October would have no Halloween event, and the overall great streak of 2024 would fall apart in November when a recent and major controversy in JToH occurred. A mass resignation of JToH developers and staff happened after the past owner of the game, Jukecalla, caused major conflicts to occur internally with the staff team. Soon after, a 102-page document, similar to LightSense, was published that revealed Jukecalla's mismanagement of JToH. After the fact, the now yearly Black Friday event came to JToH with two presents: the block Skip the Quenching and the explosive gift of brick battling. The first gift, hinted by its name, gave you a drink, this exact one being Bloxy Cola, specifically the one from the Fool's Ring 9 event back in 2021. The other, more expensive gift gave you a rocket launcher item as a boost, which was received rather negatively by the community. Thankfully, 2024 would conclude with a 3-steeple Christmas event, though the lack of a boss upset the community. As we look upon this year, we can see how things seem to be going downhill for JToH. As for content, it was similar to last year, with there only being one area and a sub-realm being released, whilst the 4 events on the other hand had a lot of content at points, with other events having less content than usual, or being scrapped altogether like the Halloween event. Again, this is going to be a 5 out of 10 for content. Quality on the other hand could save this year, with amazing gameplay and creativity to it. For all this, I'll be giving it a 10 out of 10 for quality. 2024 almost got away with no controversy. That was until one major controversy came out. Instead of 2023's 2 controversies, this is only really considered as 1, so I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. Retrospectively, the older years of JToH do seem to be better than the modern ones, but things can change. Clearly, as every main JToH area begins to come out, there's less to release, but there was also simply just more that the developers could have done in the year-long time frame, including events. But to really see where things go wrong, let's break it down more. Recent years have suffered from lack of content, and also controversy, but that doesn't mean older years didn't. They just had much smaller controversies, sometimes on a larger scale. The older area of JToH mainly suffered from quality though. Years like 2019 only managed to get all the content out that it did because of most towers being quickly and poorly built. If we look at where the eras shine though, clearly modern JToH has superior quality to anything before 2023. The other category, content, would thrive in the olden days, as less thought and effort had to be put into the towers, which made areas easier to be released. This brings the question of quantity over quality into the consideration. You could say quantity, but imagine the community's reaction to a quick release of Zone 9B with the quality of older areas. People will call it rushed and bad, and that also means it's not wholly the staff team's fault. The expectations of JToH players have slowly been getting higher, which could possibly lead to the end of this game, but I won't get too philosophical about it. The fact is, we are entering a new area of JToH with 2 new owners, meaning that things can quickly change for the better. We're only 2 years into modern JToH, so who knows, 2025 could end up being a great year, with the only thing overshadowing it being the dramatic stepping down of Jukecalla. Only time will tell the future of JToH and its ever-growing community.